that was
Yay!
old. Hello, beautiful. How are
Technology works smoothly.
you?
I'm doing
Oh,
great,
it
Sharon.
often
How are
doesn't
you?
it? I'm so good. How are you, Ginny?
Doing great.
Amazing. Thank you for being here. We've connected a little while ago now. And like I said, mediumship is probably one of my favorite things to talk about. It's something that intrigues me, and I'm sure many listeners watching now or on the replay as well. So, Ginny, before we get into mediumship and what is it, tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and the work you are doing.
Yeah, so my story has not really been shared publicly because I grew up in a conservative Christian home where anything mediumship, psychic, that was bad. Miracles, prayer, all of that is okay. And there's a fine line, which we can talk about when we get into what mediumship is. But I learned to squash these abilities when I was a child. I remember and I've got some tea with me, so I'm gonna take sips every now and
That's fine. I've got tea and coffee with me.
then. Perfect. I remember being a young child, probably 4 or 5 years old, and my great grandmother, who I had never met, she passed about a year before I was born. I remember her being in my bedroom at night and having conversations. And I can remember my dad coming in saying, why are you still awake? Who are you talking to? I'm talking to Granny. And I remember the explanation of Granny's in heaven with Jesus, and you can talk to Jesus, but you can't talk to Granny. So Granny and Jesus and I had a little game of telephone where I would say, "Hey Jesus, can you tell Granny?" So there are loopholes when you're a kid. But that was something that as I got older, I learned this is not acceptable. So I'm I learned to turn them off, which honestly, I can explain later, but I believe that is serving me now because that has allowed me to establish and uphold good boundaries with both the physical world and the spirit world. So it's a skill that I needed, and I believe everything happens for a reason. But about 10 years ago, my mother passed. And we kind of knew this was coming. She was sick. It wasn't, we had hopes. She had a stem cell transplant and had a tough recovery. So we all hoped that she would recover. But I kind of knew that this was the end. And during the same time, the same summer that my mom was passing, I was going through a horrible, horrible divorce from a very abusive relationship. And I would wake up, we were separated. I was in my own apartment. I would wake up in the middle of the night having night terrors, literally looking for a place to hide because I didn't know where I was. And I thought that the dreams I was having that he was trying to unalive me were real. And I remember one night, this is when it all started, when the floodgates opened. I woke up because I'd been having one of those terrible night terrors. And I felt something at the bottom of my bed. And my dog at the time slept on my bed. That dog has since passed, but she used to sleep on the end of my bed. So I didn't think anything of it. I thought she was just adjusting. And I felt it again a couple of seconds later. I'm laying there with my eyes open because I don't want to go back to sleep and go back into that terrible dream.
Yeah.
And I felt it again, and I thought, what is she doing? And I sat up to look, and the dog was not on the bed. And she had not jumped off the bed. It was a big enough movement on the bed. I thought maybe she had jumped off. This dog was on the floor, like ears flopped over, completely passed out, dead to
Mm.
the world. She had not budged. So something was sitting on the end of my bed. And I laid back down. I didn't think too much of it. I laid back down and I felt it move again, but this time closer to me. And all of a sudden, I felt clear as day a hand on my forehead. And I knew immediately that it was my mother. It just felt like a mother's touch. And my eyes closed, and I never had a night terror again to this day. And when I woke up the next morning, Sharon, I had one thought: don't tell anyone. Nobody can know about this. Everybody's going to think I'm crazy. This has to stay between me and my mom, wherever she is.
Yeah.
And my mom started going to extremes to get my attention. She would, just I would be walking through a doorway in my house and all of a sudden get hit in the face with a very strong smell of gardenias, which was a scent that she and I both loved. Neither one of us wore that perfume, but it was a scent we bonded over.
Yeah.
And it would just hit me in the face. And I'm not really paying attention to where I'm going. And I would look up and I would be standing right in front of a photo of her. Yeah. Just very, very extreme things until I decided, okay, I'm listening. I'm going to listen.
So do you feel that she made herself present so you can open up to this gift again?
100%.
Yeah, because that's feeling when you're talking about this. Yeah. It's like you need to do more of this. And I think most of us that know we're more than a physical body, that believe that we are more, and as you know, because you're also a practitioner of many other wonderful things, we've all experienced something similar, right? So for me, I know that I've walked into a house, my home, and smelled toast, or felt a rush of someone walking by, and it's often we just ignore it as, oh yeah, whatever. But yeah, there's so much more out there, and I think this is why this is a subject that fascinates me and intrigues me so much. So do tell us, so where did you go to from here? Because you've worked with some amazing mentors as well. Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I decided I never had the intention of really doing this for other people. A few years after my mom passed, my grandfather passed. My grandmother, her mom, passed 2 weeks after she did. And then my grandfather passed a few years later. And before my grandfather passed, I decided to come clean. Now, this is a God-fearing Southern Baptist man. And I was like, I'm just going to tell him, what do I have to lose? I'm going to tell him that I hear from my mom and I hear from grandmama, his wife. And he and I had an amazing conversation about it all. And I asked him, I said, when you leave, will you come visit me? And he said, he got this big old grin on his face and he said, I believe that I will. And sure enough, he visits me all the time. So for a long time, I was hearing from only people I knew.
Yes.
Or who were in my close circle. And those are the easiest voices to hear because they're the familiar voices. And your brain recognizes them as, oh, that is this person, or that is that person, versus reading for a stranger who's people on the other side, you're not familiar with their voices. So I never had the intention of doing this for other people, but I started having past loved ones of people I knew come to me. This started first with a friend's father who had passed 3 years prior. And I'm just putting on my makeup one day, minding my own business. And I hear his voice, and I didn't know who it was at first. And then he made an inside joke that allowed me to connect the dots to his son. And so I knew who it was. And I did not have the guts. He wanted me to give a message to his wife, and I didn't have the guts to do it because nobody knew that this was going on. Even when I would share messages with my family members, I would disguise it as, oh, I had a dream about mom and she said,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So I was undercover big
Yeah.
time. But I knew when I could not pass on those messages to people who were still here, who I loved and cared about, I was all of a sudden living with that guilt. And I knew I needed to seek out a mentor because I needed to know how to navigate this. Still, I was just
Of
looking for a
course.
mentor so that I could figure out how to navigate it. I had no idea that I would be doing this for other people and people who I don't know.
Wow.
And
So do you think because you became an open channel and you started believing that this was your
yeah,
possibility, that this was now your reality, that the others started coming through for you? Is that how it
I,
works?
I believe that it is because the more open to it you are, so they are all energy on the other side, just like we're energy, but we're manifesting also as physical energy. And they're why would they, let me rephrase it. I'm not going to put words in their mouth, but let me phrase it this way. Why would they use energy to get the attention of someone who is going to say, no, I don't believe this, or who's going to write it off? And I will say, when I had this discussion with my grandfather, his first response was, well, they never come visit me. But he had told me on other occasions that every time my mom and grandmother popped into his head, he tried to think about something else because he didn't want to feel sad.
Right.
And so he was blocking that. They were trying to come to him and he was blocking that. And I think that, even our grief can get in the way.
Well, when we're told from a very young age that that's not
Mm-hmm.
possible, we stop believing that it's possible to be open to these things. I actually had an incident with one of my sons where he was actually seeing his grandfather when he was around 5 or 6, and I was very open to it, but there was many people around us that said, no, don't be ridiculous. And of course he's going to shut off that gift, but he was convinced that his grandfather was riding with him on the bus to school, with him
Mm-hmm.
in his bedroom at night, and it actually gave him a lot of comfort. So for me, whether it was true or not, or possible
Yeah,
or not,
it didn't matter.
comfort. So in my opinion, and this is before I started studying holistic health, in my opinion, it was more, if it's making him comfortable, who am
Mm-hmm.
I to him it's not okay? So yeah, it's just
Yeah,
interesting how we all have these different perceptions, but once we're told that no, it's not possible, then we are going to block that out from a young age. So
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And the littles they are so open, our
Yes.
kids are, because they don't have the years and years of limiting beliefs piled on them from outside forces. So
Correct.
much as possible in their little minds. So why wouldn't he,
And this is the beautiful
you
thing,
know?
and this is why I do what I do, because anything and everything is possible. And this is the message that I want to share with everyone, that there's no limits. If this is true for you, it's true for you. Don't come from a place of judgment. Just be happy that this is possible for someone,
Yeah.
and that's my perception around everything. So what work did your mentors guide you through to get you to where you are now, reading for other people?
You
So
know,
what were the sort of initial steps? Because I think everyone would
mhm,
be interested in knowing, even me.
yeah.
How does this start? How does one go from not believing to this being a possibility and then it being part of your reality? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I believe, as I know you do, that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I started seeking out a mentor, and I had a mentor I met with. I was like I had my bank card out. I was ready to sign up for my 6 months, and this woman totally, I don't even remember her name. She totally went radio silent. And so I was like, okay, I guess that's not the mentor I'm supposed to be with. And I reached out to Marianne DeMarco. I just started searching, and she has a book called Medium Mentor. So obviously, search engine optimization
Of
popped that right up to the top. And I was like, well, if she has a book, she's got to have a program. And I filled out the form on Marianne's website for her mentorship program, the application, and I never heard back. And in the meantime, I love the synchronicity of all of this. In the meantime, I can't even remember how I originally found Lindsay, but I found a woman named Lindsay Marino, who is a former third grade teacher, and she has a 5-month mentorship. And she was the day that I found her and was kind of toying, like still not sure if I should sign up for her program. It wasn't a complete yes for me. I saw that she was going to be in my small little beach town of all places about 3 weeks later. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go see her live.
Oh, wow.
And experience that and then make my decision. And after I saw her live, I really appreciated the way that she delivered messages and the way that she read and the humility that she brought to the experience. It really is about the sitter. And so I signed up for Lindsay's program. Her name is Lindsay Marino. She is fantastic. And her skills as a third grade teacher, I think, brings so much to the table because it's not complicated. It's simple. And Lindsay breaks it down super simple. And every week we met for 5 months. Every Monday, we met as a small group, and she would teach, and then we would have practice. So our practice started off as easy and fun exercises so that it's nothing really intimidating. All the way to the end of the program, we were doing group readings with strangers that she would invite to our Zoom meeting, and alternating doing group readings and reading for each other.
Yeah.
And her program runs once a year. That is coming up this fall. So if that's something anyone is interested in, including you, Sharon, she comes with my highest endorsements.
Yeah.
And the week that Lindsay's 5-month program started, I heard from Marianne's people.
Oh,
and
wow.
they emailed me and said, we got your application. Marianne really wants to work with you. And I replied, and they said, here are the times that she has blocks of times because she works with everyone one-on-one. Here are the times you have to choose from for this semester, which was, I believe hers spans over 3 or 4 months. And I replied and I said, I'm so sorry. I don't think I apologized because everything happens for a reason. But I said, I've joined another program and it doesn't feel aligned for me to be going through both programs at the same time. And they said, she still really wants to work with you. Is it okay if we reach out again in the spring? And they reached out, it gives me chills, the day after Lindsay's program ended.
Oh,
Marianne's team reached out to me again with the new times. And my experience with Marianne was different. And I'm so thankful that everything happened the way it did, because I feel like with Lindsay, I'm a Capricorn. I like structure. I got all the structure I needed and the foundation. And then Marianne gave me that push. She would push me to the edge. She would make me do things that were so uncomfortable for me because she knew that I could. Yes. So she had me, this is my best example. She had me read for one of her friends, and she gave me this woman's first name and phone number and said she's expecting you to contact her and set up a time for an hour-long reading. And by the way, I have instructed her to give you no feedback, no facial expressions, she is instructed to just be a stone wall, which is so hard when you're doing
Yeah.
readings because
Yeah.
things come through that might not make sense to the medium, but to the sitter, the person you're reading for, it might mean everything, or that
Yeah.
there might be some sort of significance or some memory attached to the green tractor that comes through, or the sugar cookies, or it means something to them, even though it makes no sense to me. So, not getting any feedback at all is very intimidating. And I did that reading anyway. And her name is Kristen. Kristen, at the beginning, said, I told her, I said, I know that you've been instructed to give me no feedback. And she said, oh, good, because I'm already feeling so bad about having to be stone faced. But at the end, she was like, you followed everything that was coming through. And that's the biggest lesson I learned. If it comes in, let it come out of my mouth, even if it doesn't make sense to me. And she said, I was so, so accurate. And
Yeah.
that's all in preparation for the actual clients who are going to be like that anyway. And I have gotten the same feedback, which really, Sharon, is just feedback for me that I need to I need to say the thing, even if it sounds ridiculous and silly to me, say the thing.
Yeah. And that was going to be one of my questions. Like, do you have to be mindful about how you deliver? Well, I should say, are you mindful about how you deliver the message? But no, whatever comes through is exactly what you
What
say.
Whatever comes through is exactly what I say. And when I do, when my brain does get involved and start to filter things, for example, I was reading a gentleman and I kept seeing a baby girl, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this guy is not married. I have no idea if he even has a girlfriend. I might feel differently if I was reading for a woman and say, I see a baby girl in your future. I don't know how this guy feels about kids.
Of
I
course.
can't say I'm picking up a baby girl. And this is a client that I read for fairly frequently. And so I didn't tell him that time, but I remembered the next time and I said, I have to apologize for something. I withheld some information. But it's when your brain, and he was totally accepting of the information. He didn't have anything to connect it to at this point in time, but he was accepting of it. But it was me, it was my humanness that wanted to project, oh, I'm going to be wrong. And then all of a sudden it's about me. Then it's not about the spirit or the sitter anymore. It's about me if I'm worried about being wrong.
Yeah.
Or he's not going to feel, he's going to feel a certain way about it. And then that's also about me. I'm making him feel this way. And that's not what mediumship is
Yeah.
at all. It is all about service and just being the vessel.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that so much. So I know, like, people that have been watching my lives and know me a little bit know that we don't ask questions. Whatever comes up is exactly what we talk about. So I'm going to ask you a question now that we haven't spoken about or predetermined, but you would notice a lot of miracles, I am sure, that comes through. Is there anything that comes to mind where you have read for someone and it's just been something really extraordinary that has changed someone's, I mean, I'm sure every reading would change someone's life to some degree, but something really impactful, like
You
made a
know,
massive shift?
I have, yeah, and to get the feedback to really truly know that, you have to get feedback from the client later. And I do have several clients who reach back out and want another reading, or they want to share something with me, something amazing that came up in their reading that they are excited to share with me, something that came back around. I've seen a whole lot of grief healed because there's a shift in perspective, and it's not the same as having the physical person there, but it's different in a really fulfilling way
Well, I
still.
now then becomes a knowing for that person
Yes.
that more.
And almost every single reading I do, especially if it's like a parent or a grandparent or a spouse or even a child, someone connected, the spirit has a way that they want this person to communicate and listen to them. They want them to, they have been sending them signs, but the person's been brushing off the signs as a coincidence, or I don't know if that is from my mom or not. Or they, I get a lot. This is something that I encourage, is writing. If
Mm.
you are, if you're struggling with something, if you're missing someone, if you have a question for them, you can ask them that question, sit down, calm your nervous system, and just start writing. It's called automatic writing in the mediumship world.
Oh,
And you just let whatever comes out come,
that's a great
just
tip.
let it
Yeah.
come out. Yeah. And so often you'll find that what you have on the page sounds just like the person that you were wishing you could talk to. But
Wow.
I have to share, like, I have experienced amazing physical phenomenon. Um, I have a vocal tremor that I've been struggling with, especially this year. It has escalated this year. And the only time it's being treated now, but the only time that it completely goes away is when I'm doing readings. And
Wow.
it's it's an hour of talking, and spirits communicate very quickly. The information comes in very quickly a lot of times. So it's a lot of talking and talking quickly. And my vocal tremor will go away. And then for an hour or two after the reading, no vocal tremor, which,
Wow. I love.
yeah, that's totally blown my mind. And I think that in general, too, the more that we connect with, it doesn't even have to be a past loved one, with our higher selves or our higher power, the more we're going to experience the physical miracles in our own body, because
Absolutely.
we're bringing in that beautiful whole life force energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I connect, I'm not.
Oh, I've lost my audio. I'm not sure if it's me. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Got you
no,
now.
my phone was ringing. I did put it on. Oh, anyway. Um, but when I do connect to energy, not like you do, but in my way, I do a lot of cards and all the rest of it. I do feel that very deep connection, and it's from that place I generally set my intentions for the day. And when you open your heart just to this, it's just
Mhm.
you see the miracles unfolding instantaneously every day. It's just really is a beautiful thing. So I do it really, really, as you know, really appreciate your ability to connect the way that you do. I think it's phenomenal. And yeah, and the other thing I think we wanted to talk about was, hang on. Oh, is there like there's probably a lot of people out there like me who would love to develop this skill as you have. Is there a place to start?
Yes. Yes. So, and I anticipated this question, and so I wrote down some notes. I think the very first place to start is to listen. Start paying attention to the little miracles around you, to the voice in your head that doesn't sound like you, it sounds like that other person. Um, Pay attention. So often our brains are wired to filter out information that is not super important for the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so often those things get filtered out. So we have to set the intention to notice those things. But I grabbed a couple of my favorite books that have helped me develop along the way.
Yeah.
This one is Penny Pierce, The Intuitive Way.
Yeah.
And I'm a book addict, so I usually have things on Audible and also in paperback. But this is also on Audible, and it is a good listen. She has some meditations and some exercises in here.
Okay.
So that is a fantastic one. Developing Intuition by Shakti Gawain. And you'll find that several of the mediums that you know from television were trained by mediums who were trained by Shakti Gawain.
Okay.
So she goes way back, and this is Developing Intuition. And then, of course, I have to recommend Marianne's book, Medium Mentor.
Yep.
She does not hold back. A lot of people who have programs who also produce books, their books are just the tip of the iceberg for their program, and you really have to enroll in their program to get the meat and potatoes. Marianne put the meat and potatoes in Medium Mentor. You can get everything you need with this book. But she also hosts retreats and then, of course, has her mentor program. Lindsay Marino, who I mentioned earlier, doesn't have a book for me to show, but she does have some self-paced courses on her site that are a great place to start. Super simple. They break it down. But if I was choosing one thing, if somebody said I need one place to start and not the whole stack of books, I would start with Medium Mentor.
Okay.
This is also on Audible, and Marianne reads it herself, which I really love when authors read their own work, because you can feel that energy coming through.
Amazing. Thank you, Ginny. One last question. In a nutshell, and in your expertise, what is mediumship?
Mediumship is being the empty vessel for the unseen to come through and manifest itself to the people who are here in physical form. That is my definition of mediumship, and that is something I remind myself before every reading. I don't need to prepare. I need to make sure that my vibration is up so that I can connect to that higher vibration. But there's nothing I need to do. All I have to do is show up and be the vessel and let everything that comes through come out. And that's the best way to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I think this live with you is a beautiful reminder that anything and everything is a possibility. So if this is a path for you, don't shut it out. Go with what you're feeling.
Yes.
Enjoy the ride. It's just such a beautiful thing. But I thank you again. Thank you, Ginny. Ginny will be tagged in this live replay. So if you would like to connect with her, click on that link and it'll take you to her page. Reach out to her. I'm sure that you do online readings as well.
I do online readings, and earlier this summer I did not have a voice at all for about a month because I was getting vocal cord treatments. I started doing written readings, which have been tremendously successful. Everyone loves them, so that's something to explore too.
That is to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a written reading is so much fun because I am surprised by what comes up too. I call them letters from heaven, And on my form, if you book this type of reading, you'll book a time, but we're not going to meet at that time. I'm going to take that time and I'm going to connect. But I have two questions. You can ask if you have questions for your higher self or for your guides. I can connect to that energy. Or if you want to connect to a past loved one, I can connect to a past loved one. I can't guarantee always that the person you want to hear from will be the one who comes through, but I have yet to experience someone who doesn't come through.
Okay.
And I connect with that energy. You go about your day, and I open my computer. I get screens affect my brain. So my brain is going to come back on and start filtering stuff if I can see words on my screen. So I turned the backlight of my screen completely off. So my screen is black and I just type what comes through.
Wow.
And then I turn the backlight on when the connection's complete, and I clean up the formatting. I did one earlier this week or last week. And when I turned on that backlight, Sharon, and I could see the word thanks was sprinkled throughout that document in places where it didn't go in the sentence. I have no, remembering of typing that word, but it was sprinkled throughout the document, which was super cool for me to see. But then that's a message that the sitter can come back to and revisit over and over, and people have loved that too.
So you would then send that letter to the person?
Yep.
Do you read it before you send it, or you just send it as is?
I read through it and just make sure I don't let my brain filter through anything. But sometimes the spirit will come through and have me add a few more things at certain places in the letter. And then I just send the documents to the person I'm reading for.
Amazing. Amazing. Look, I've been watching, and a fair few people have come through on this live. Is there anyone that's got a question for Ginny? Just a quick question. So we'll see if anyone's got any questions. But I could just listen to about this subject.
I can talk about it all day. It is the easiest and most fun thing.
Yeah, I think so too. But for anyone who's new here to my page, head over to the link in bio, watch Reclaim Your Mind and Whole Health. You'll learn more about the program and the community. In there, Ginny will be inside Empower Her, the Wellness Collective, where she will be hosting group readings, which I'm super excited about because I want one.
I'm excited too.
So we don't have any questions coming through, but again, if you'd like to reach out to Ginny, her link will be on this in the content of this replay. Yeah, connect with her. She's a medium, but she's also many other things. List a couple. The letters from heaven sound like magic, Ginny. I think I think they do too. So you're also an RTT practitioner.
Yes. So RTT is a form of hypnotherapy. And as of recently, this has not been announced on social media yet, but I have a digital program for kids, teaching kids how to meditate and regulate their nervous system, called Mindful Kids. Mindful Kids is opening an in-person location here in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, where I will be coaching kids in resilience and mindfulness and doing hypnotherapy with kids too. So yeah.
And Ginny and I are going to be doing other work together as well. We're going to be coming up with theta meditations, which I'm really excited about. Probably next year, I would say, in 2025, very specific meditations. So this woman has a wealth of knowledge, guys. So yes, connect with her. Any questions? Once again, reach out. I thank you. I thank you for your time, Ginny, your energy. You're just beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. It's your morning.
Yes, it is. It's 10:45 in the morning, so you're all ready for bed, and my day's just.
Yes.
Thank you, Ginny. I will reach out shortly.
Sounds great. Thank you, Sharon.
Everyone watching on the live and those who watch on the replay, see ya. And this is what we do. We bring practitioners from all around the world to inspire you to live your greatness in whole health. Thanks, guys.